There is absolutely no such thing as an average student. Early in my career, I was doing brain imaging, and I would put you in a scanner, scan your brain, scan 20 other people's brains, and then we would just average that together. But what we started seeing was that the individual brain scans that we would get ended up looking almost nothing like the average that came from that group. Every time you look, this is what you found. This big insight was that the average represents nobody. So we have a big problem because we have built an entire education system assuming the average kid exists, that kids know the same things and learn the same way at the same age. They don't. By any measure, this system doesn't work. I know because it failed me. I'm Todd Rose, and I'm the co-founder and president of a think tank called Populous. Prior to that, I was a professor at Harvard. And before that, I was a high school dropout with a 0.9 GPA.
This is Catalyst, a show about the changemakers tackling our biggest problems.
We've built all of our society around the idea that there is an average person. I mean, everything from product design to body size to IQ tests to education. Here's the question, how did we get here? In terms of the application of averages, we really have one man to thank for that, and that's Frederick Taylor, the founder of scientific management. He was part of what was called the efficiency movement. He thought that the way to prosperity was to forget individuals and take control away from workers and put it in the hands of a select few of the most intelligent people. And he goes about implementing that in factory after factory after factory. And then the early pioneers of our modern education system, they said, well, wait a minute, if it works in business, why wouldn't it work in schools? We adopted a one-size-fits-all system based on the idea that fast equals smart and slow equals dumb. We're even going to use bells that were originally meant to signal shift changes in factories to move kids from room to room. I mean, that's how close our schools mirror the industrial factory. And as long as they don't fail, they actually move on. It's not based on mastering the material, it's based on not failing. The consequences of one-size-fits-all learning, let's just take something like student engagement. Kids are the most engaged when they're in kindergarten. By 5th grade, 26% of students are disengaged. That number goes to 55% by the time they're in 8th grade. And by the time they are high school seniors, 66% of students are disengaged in their learning. This system is wasting so much talent and potential contribution. I'm obsessed with what we call dark horses, the people that end up being objectively successful in society, but they fail in the existing system or it doesn't fit them well and they have to kind of go around it. My go-to story for this is Norman Borlaug. He is conservatively estimated to have saved 1 billion people's lives. A lot of people know that story. What they don't know is how close we came to losing Norman Borlaug's contribution.
I grew up on a small farm. Life was not always easy.
He barely got into high school, and then he decided maybe I should go to college. And so he saves up every penny he has, his family chips in, and it just so happens it's the first year that we implement a standardized test as a selection tool. And Norman Borlaug was about as good at standardized tests as I am, which is to say not very good. He doesn't meet the criteria, and they reject him. That could have been the end of the story for Norman Borlaug. But as luck may have it, we had just invented junior colleges. By the skin of his teeth, he gets to go there. It turns out he's really smart. And what does Norman Borlaug accomplish? He literally invented new types of wheat that were drought resistant, some other things, in a time when our elites literally said, Mexico and India are going to starve to death, there's nothing you can do. Norman Borlaug created an innovation that saved 1 billion people. But listen, the moral of that story isn't smart people find a way through. The right takeaway from that story is how many Norman Borlaugs have we lost? For every Norman Borlaug, there are countless numbers of people who are equally as talented, who have something to contribute, but for whatever reason have not had that opportunity. Depending on the year, close to 1 million kids drop out of school. 1 million. This is unacceptable loss of talent. There will never be a single right way to do education, but there are 3 principles that will contribute to a better education for all kids. The first, mastery learning. Kids learn at their own pace and keep going until they reach a high level of achievement. Second, deep flexibility. Not everyone has to do the exact same thing the exact same way. We empower kids by giving them a lot more choice to connect with the things that matter to them. The final thing is divergent outcomes. Success doesn't have to mean one thing. We need our education system to have a much broader view of success. The truth is, human potential is nowhere near as limited as the systems we have put in place assume. If you get this right, and we are this close, it will give us a chance, I promise you, to have a system where all kids thrive, preparing them for meaningful work, whatever that is. And if we can rebuild our education system based on respecting kids' individuality, we will unleash an incredible amount of human potential. There is nothing holding us back, except for the will to do it.
Thanks for watching. To learn more about the changemakers driving innovation in education, visit standtogether.org.